punt.
Best offensive player and their best defensive player.
Welcome to the Outback to Endzone podcast, Jamie. It's been a bit of quite a few days in free agency terms, but still plenty happening.
Plenty of happening still, Adam. Good to be back chatting a bit of NFL. 36 days to the draft. Bring it on, mate. Are we keen?
Yeah, I cannot wait. Cannot wait to be there in person and experiencing the 500,000 plus fans and just the madness that'll come with the NFL draft. It's probably the only time for the whole year where everyone genuinely believes their team is going to be in playoffs next year, and you have that hope and optimism, which just makes the draft so good.
It's one of those things. It's one of my favourite things about sport is the draft, whether it's AFL, NBA, NFL. It's that time of year where you just park yourself in front of the TV for a whole day and you just sit there and watch it. I think it's one of the most exciting things. Some of my favourite sporting memories have been built around the draft, saying you were there when that player got drafted, remembering the moment that your team picked him. I think it's freaking awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And it was fun doing it last year where we did it at home, live reacting to it, but it's going to be even better being there and experience it in person.
But tell you what, being there with 500,000 people in the room, I think it is gonna be electric. There's no doubt about that, mate. And I mean, that's like the craziest thing. The whole trip is revolving around the draft, but it's probably not even the thing I'm looking forward to most. So I'm so excited.
It's going to be another crazy 10 days of a trip, and yeah, we can't wait to get into it. But let's talk a bit of NFL free agency and I guess a few updates over the last few days. We woke up to the news this morning that the Denver Broncos, Jaylen Waddle. What about that?
Mate, didn't really expect that one. We were literally chatting to Dame the other day about the Dolphins and sort of wondering what route they were going to go. And it seemed like at that stage that Jaylen Waddle wasn't going anywhere, which, I mean, I think it makes sense, especially with Malik, to keep at least one good receiver in that room to make the job a bit easier for Willis. But all of a sudden, they've got literally no one in that wide receiver room. So you could almost bet a good dollar that the Dolphins are going to be drafting a wide receiver. If not one, maybe a couple.
Yeah, I saw a comment today on one of our reels saying that the Miami Dolphins are going to have to use the Army offense and just triple option with Malik Willis and Devon Achane and just run the air out of the pill, which, yeah, I was just saying. Now, the one thing they did get with that trade, they did get a swag of picks and a late first, a third, and maybe a fifth, I think, was in it too. So they're going to be able to reload, and they're clearly rebuilding. Does this change any of your thoughts on the Malik Willis contract, or are you still sort of happy with that?
Oh, I think the contract itself is a good contract. They didn't pay out of their ass for him, that's for sure. But he's on there in a 3-year deal. Are we really going to see the best version of him is what worries me. If he goes there and his number one wide receiver is Tutu Atwell, then we're going to quickly not see that great version of what it potentially could be. In saying that, wide receivers, you can find them quickly. Whether it's free agency or the draft, you can pick up guys that can quickly start performing. So I'm still all for the Willis signing, but I'm very eager to see what they do draft day.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Malik Willis deal is still a really good deal. They're buying themselves a little bit of time, and they're getting a free pass to see if he is the QB1 for the future. It's going to be a lot harder now without Jaylen Waddle there. But in fairness to the Dolphins, Jaylen Waddle hasn't been very reliable on the park lately. Like, his whole career has been scarred with injuries. So who knows? Maybe they get younger and in that wide receiver room, and they don't lose too much from the trade. We won't know until we won't know until it all sort of pans out, though, will we?
Yeah, I think getting a first round for Waddle was a bit of a steal, to be honest. But if we look on the Broncos side of the field, do you rate this pickup for him? Is Waddle is he a number one wide receiver?
I'm not sure Waddle's a number one, but I absolutely love it for Denver. You throw him next to Courtland Sutton, and there was rumours that Sutton might be on the move, but if they can maintain Sutton and Waddle on the outside with their run game as well, if they can have Waddle and Sutton on the outside with RJ Harvey running the ball and Bo Nix pulling the strings. That offense, which I hated last year, I said it all year that I just didn't confident in their offense. They've all of a sudden now got a lot of weapons with Sean McVay calling the offense. That becomes a real Super Bowl contender. I floated the idea around today of Bo Nix as a smoky for the MVP, and I am that big now on Denver. I've come around full circle, and it might only be one weapon, but it is a big weapon now, and I'm all in for the Denver Broncos next year.
That's more than full circle, mate. You've been running laps of the circle already. I wasn't expecting you to say that. I'm not as hot, to be honest with you, on the Broncos. I think Troy Franklin as well is an underrated receiver there. Perfect, like third stringer. And then you touched on RJ Harvey. I think he's going to have an amazing season next year. But I don't know. I feel like where the Broncos finished up last year is a little bit inflated compared to how good they actually are. I would be very interested to see if they were one wide receiver off taking the extra step from where they finished last year.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I just think they'd been quiet this free agency, so you could tell that there was a move away. And yeah, I think out of all the options, Jaylen Waddle is an enormous asset. He's fast. He's a real field stretcher, and they have Mims already there, but he's tenfold better than him. So you've got the big-bodied receiver outside. I listened a bit to Bucky Brooks, and he speaks about building a basketball team on the outside. So they've got their big, tall targeting Cortland Sutton as well as a burner now with Jaylen Waddle, who they can get tricky with, and then you've got your running back who can catch it and run it as well in RJ Harvey. So their offense is really turned around, and our boy Troutman, the big brown trout, at tight end as well. So, yeah, I like what they're building in that offense now, and another year of Bo Nix behind the center as quarterback. Yeah, early days, I think they'll be one of the favourites for the AFC, that's for sure.
Yeah, don't mind it. Waddle's young as well, 27. Justin Fields, he signed with the Chiefs. Thoughts on this?
I love this. Was lucky enough to go to the game at Michigan versus Ohio State. I think it was back in 2019, and Justin Fields lit up Michigan that day. And from that day onwards, I've been one of Justin Fields' biggest fans. I said he could not miss. He was an absolute star, and I've probably got that one a little bit wrong, caught up in the moment of being at the big house with 110,000 fans. But he gets an opportunity now, and I was listening to a few different podcasts the last couple of days. But the thing that I love is he gets to go to a quarterback finishing school with Andy Reid. If he has anything left, and if he has a chance of being a starter for the in the NFL, he gets to go behind Andy Reid, learn an offense, sit behind Patrick Mahomes, and then while Patrick Mahomes is available, or if he isn't ready to start week one, he is a more than serviceable starter to start the season. Then when Mahomes gets healthy, you can't tell me that Andy Reid won't find a way to use Justin Fields in short goal line packages or short run plays, because he's not just a runner, but he is extremely explosive as a runner and can pass the ball as well. And with a offensive genius like Andy Reid, I think that's just going to be a really dangerous. And for Justin Fields, I just think the perfect landing spot.
Geez, the amount of times I've heard you talk about that Justin Fields Ohio State memory, but I never get sick of it. I think, yeah, what he did there was incredible. I'm so jealous I didn't get to experience it. I agree with you here, mate. Great pickup. And I think it's the best move for Justin Fields. Go sit behind the best quarterback in the game with one of the best coaches. And, mate, just take as long as you need. Take 2 or 3 years. Just soak it up. And then all of a sudden, you might be a completely different player after that 3 years. And you'll be ready to not just be a starter in the league, but maybe be a top 10, top 15 QB, which is 100% what his potential. Like, he's got potential to do that. He's got he's proven in college and in glimpses, like what we saw in Pittsburgh for a little bit there. Like, he can be a starter in the league. He just needs to put it all together. So, yeah, I absolutely love this.
My last take on Justin Fields too is the 3 spots he's been at in Chicago, in Pittsburgh, and at New York, they haven't been great quarterback-friendly destinations. Even he went 5-1 or 6-1 as a starter at Pittsburgh. Like, their offense didn't have any weapons. At Chicago, he never really had any weapons. So he gets that opportunity, and the New York Football Jets, well, we all
Don't-
know how good they were last year. So he gets an opportunity to, and I'm not saying the Chiefs are littered with offensive weapons. They've got Kenneth Walker now. They've got a few other young and up-and-coming wide receivers with Worthy, and who knows what they'll do in the draft. But at least he's got an offensive-minded coach. It's the first offensive-minded coach he's going to have, and he can grow and develop into whatever he's going to be. And for my sake, because I've been a big Justin Fields fan, hopefully it's something.
100%. Rasheed Rice as well.
Yeah, a full season of him too. Like last year, he had the DUI and very interrupted sort of season. So a full season of him, that's going to be massive.
Yeah, he still dominated for when he came back. So I think he was coming off a bad leg injury and the suspension. So is Mahomes looking fit for round 1? Are they saying?
I think it's just a bit too early. The thing that it does buy them that little bit of time now, though, at least they're not going to rush into he has to be there week 1. It's even the off season. Like you're going to have a quarterback at training camp that is competent, not just someone who's a backup's backup. The other big one was Bradley Chubb got traded to the Buffalo Bills. One of my good friends, Jerry, he's a mad Buffalo Bills fan, and he was quite happy with the move. He said he couldn't be any worse than Joey Bosa. He said Joey Bosa is a corpse, was, quote, the words that he used. But what are your thoughts on the Bradley Chubb signing to the Bills?
Geez, some harsh words for Joey Bosa. But in saying that, I didn't watch enough Bills football to agree or disagree on that one. But far out, I don't know if this is much of an upgrade. I think Bradley Chubb might be as much as a corpse as what Joey Bosa is. He's getting a bit on. He'd be about 29 now, I'm thinking. What did he have last year? How many sacks did he have last year? Probably about 7 or 8, I think. Nothing crazy. He's had his sort of injury questions in the past as well. I don't think he's an incredible signing. How much did they pay him?
Not sure the money side of it, but I think I agree. Buffalo just keep going to the well with these old edge rushers that are past their prime. Like they went with Von Miller, paid him, then they went to Joey Bosa. Bradley Chubb is a little bit younger, but as you said, he's had a lot of injury history. And yeah, they've got Gregory Rousseau, who's a young up-and-comer on the other edge, Ed Oliver in the middle. So they are trying to build around that defensive line, but yeah, I'm not sure Bradley Chubb is the answer. I think his best football is past him.
3 years, 43.5 million. It's a big contract. Like
That's decent, yeah, for guys who has had that injury history.
when he's getting to 32 and he's getting paid that sort of money, like there's a lot can go wrong. But yeah, real Bill signing. I think. I don't think that one. I don't think that's going to blow up the league or anything.
Hollywood Brown to the Eagles. So this one's an interesting one because is he going to be wide receiver 3 or wide receiver 2, depending on what the Eagles do with AJ Brown?
God knows what's going on there. To me, I have no idea. Like the news recently sort of seems like AJ Brown isn't going anywhere, but I feel like he's been trying to get out of that joint for 3 years. But I also feel like he's been trying to get out of every joint he's ever played for. So, I don't think Hollywood Brown's that much of a flash signing either. To be honest, he didn't do that much at the Chiefs. We saw his best football when he was playing the Ravens there, and he was sort of their number 1 option. I don't think this is much to write home about. Devonta Smith will be there regardless next year. So, look, he's either a 2 or a 3, and I don't think he's a very good 2. So let's hope he's a 3.
I think for the Eagles, I like it as a number 3 because he adds that little bit different, bit of a burner. Again, building a bit of a basketball team with AJ Brown on the outside, Devonta Smith really good with his routes, and then you have a burner in Hollywood Brown. But it could be a really nice piece and probably an upgrade from what they had last year. But if he does move to a number 2, I don't like the deal near as much because I don't see him. If he couldn't be a good weapon for Pat Mahomes, Jalen Hurts ain't making him a good option.
I wouldn't have thought. I definitely wouldn't have thought. If where do the Eagles have a first round pick, don't they? Just go draft a guy.
Yeah, true. There's a lot of people at the receiver position too that are sort of late first. Like obviously Brown's having 2 picks, spent a fair bit of time researching that, and there is a fair few sort of guys at the back end of the first round receiver guys that that will be around. So there is that chance for sure.
The people who's remaining, there's a fair few receivers left on the board, isn't there?
Yeah, well, a few of the top remaining ones, you've got Jaylen Jennings, Stefan Diggs, and Deebo Samuel. So 3 sort of aging guys. Jaylen Jennings would be the youngest, but still not youthful. What are you thinking with them 3? What are some decent landing spots or places? Have any of them got any juice left?
Yeah, out of the veterans there, no one sort of grabs me as a real game changer. Some nice, I think some great, third options there. What Jaylen Jennings, he's 28. He's had flashes of brilliance, but he's never really put together a full outstanding season. I don't know if he's a real good locker room man either, to be honest with
When he played the Browns this year, Shelby Harris, one of our defensive tackles, called him, I can't remember his exact words, but he wasn't very fond of the man.
No, wasn't a big fan of old Jaylen. I didn't realise he's 6'3". Did you know that?
I didn't know he was 6'3". Was he? Jaylen Jennings was the one that punched someone in the nuts too, wasn't he?
Yep, I believe that happened. That sounds like our man Jaylen. I'm actually a little bit tentative to call him our man. I would
Yeah, he's definitely not mine.
I hope the Colts don't sign him. For your sake, I hope the Browns don't sign him. He will be on a team. He'll probably end up at Buffalo or something like that.
The biggest problem with the Browns is I feel like we need weapons, and out of them 3, I definitely don't want Stephon Diggs and all that comes with that, and I'm not sure Deebo has anything left in the tank, but I think you've summed it up pretty well. They're all probably number 3 options, low grade number 2s. So they'll find a home. Probably they could be months too. Like these blokes aren't going to be hanging in to get to training camp and OTAs and stuff like that. So I think there will be a bit of time potentially before any of these guys find new homes anyway.
Yeah, out of those 3, the one I would probably go after would be Deebo. Like, he wasn't horrible last year. He had 700 odd yards. He's still only 30 years old. I don't think he's going to have a 1,000-yard season next year, but I think he could go somewhere and actually, make some big plays when they count. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to a contender. Maybe Seattle, maybe LA. I could just sort of see him going to either of those teams.
Yeah, for sure. And he has that versatility too. He can play in the background, in the backfield, in the slot, a bit outside. So yeah, he is that weapon, Swiss Army knife a little bit for offenses. As we head over to a few defensive ends, Calais Campbell and Joey Bosa, the corpse of Joey Bosa, as Jerry said. So even in the edge sort of side of things, there's not a lot left in free agency, really, is there?
Yeah, well, when you're talking about Calais Campbell, I mean, he's still playing well, but he's 39.
Yeah, he's 40 this year. Like, that's crazy.
By the time the season starts, he'll be 40 years old, and good on him, the great man. He's one of those guys. I remember him when I was young watching.
Exactly, yeah.
I remember playing Madden 15 and having him in, playing with him. Well, good on him for still going around. Once again, great veteran locker room presence signing. Someone that is going to help bring along a good young defense, a good wise head in the locker room, but also can go out and still make a few plays for you. So I like that for maybe a young and up and coming team. And yeah, Joey Bosa, can he get back to his best? That's probably the question here.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the Joey Bosa one probably comes down to the contract too. And there was early whispers that it was going to be at San Francisco with Nick and the Bosa brothers combined. I think he still has a reasonable pass rush, but I think he's probably now no longer a 3-down edge. He's probably come in and spell guys rather than sort of that 3-down edge like he probably was at the Chargers.
Yeah, it's quite crazy. He's nearly 5 years removed now from his last double-digit sack season. So I think if you're bringing him in, you're not expecting anything crazy like that. I like him. I like the idea of him being the other side of Nick, and maybe that rejuvenates his career a little bit. But yeah, I don't think he's I don't think he's a game changer.
And then lastly, the teams that need quarterbacks, which there's still a few out there, Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins are sort of your 2 remaining options as free agents. We've both spoken about how if we're a team looking for a quarterback, Will Levis would be huge on our boards. But Do either of them two, would you want either of them to?
I think I'm that confident that we're just going to go around this whole merry-go-round again and do all this bullshit again like we did last year, and Aaron Rodgers is going to sign with Pittsburgh at the last, not the last minute, but he'll leave it late, and we'll all be like, what a shock when it happens. But yeah, I think he goes around for one last roll of the dice with Mike McCarthy. So you could almost just take him off this list, I think.
I think Aaron Rodgers is a bit too much about me for him to just finish. Like, he'll want the big show and dance for when he retires and I'm never playing again, and he wants that big walk-off into the sunset sort of moment. So I'm with you. I don't think he's done just yet.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually disagree with that with Aaron Rodgers. This might get a little bit of hate, but I don't think he really cares too much about that stuff. I reckon he'll in the sense that he's got more left in the tank, he will go around for another year. But Kirk Cousins is the interesting one. If I was Kirk Cousins, and look, stop me if you don't agree, but would it not just be smart to just play it out? Don't rush into anything, and then all of a sudden you get to week 1 or week 2 and a big star goes down with an injury, and then all of a sudden you're like the number 1 landing spot.
I love that idea, and we've seen Kirk, he's got a bit of a noodle arm left, so I'm not sure he's got anything left in the tank anyway. So that idea of, waiting, working out, and then when a team gets desperate, hopefully the right team and it's a contender, that's when you sort of do what Phillip Rivers did. Hopefully you don't have to wait that long into the season, but yeah, I'd like that idea for him. Again, he's over 40, isn't he? So he hasn't got a lot of football left. He won't take long to get right and play football. So yeah, I think that's a really good idea for sure.
Yeah, so it's sort of hard to say what team. Well, he's 37, so he's still not quite 40, but he's getting on. He's up there in quarterback age, that's for sure.
I suppose too, for a guy who never really had a cannon arm too, like, he probably loses a little bit of that zip, and that's probably what lost his job at Atlanta, was the lack of zip he had post Achilles. Well, we'll head over to a bit of a love it or hate it as we go through what has already happened through the NFL free agency. So whether it's a player that someone signed or a team, whether we love them or we hate them. So I'm going to start off with one, Jamie, and one of the biggest signings for the free agency period, one that I absolutely loved, was Tyler Linderbaum to the Las Vegas Raiders. I just think this is a great signing. I know they paid an absolute swag. It's like $9 million more than any other center or something like that. But when you have a clear necessity to address offensive line, when you are going to draft Fernando Mendoza with the first pick in the draft, you need to address that offensive line. I don't give a damn what it costs to go out and get a top 5 center. In the free agent, linemen don't get out there very often. So when you get a chance to get one, you go out and grab one. And for them to get Tyler Linderbaum to address the center, to help over protections with, so Fernando Mendoza, he's going to have a lot on his plate. So he can just go out and focus on trying to find the open man. Linderbaum can help with protections. I just think it's a massive signing and a great signing for the Las Vegas Raiders.
Mate, couldn't agree more. And at the end of the day, he's the guy that's snapping the ball to Fernando. So I think it doesn't matter how much it costs you, just go and get the best guy available when you're drafting a young quarterback. Because we've seen too many teams in the past make the mistake of not addressing the O-line, but getting a good young quarterback, and it almost ruining their careers. In some cases, them retiring early. So I'd love to see this. My love, I actually had the whole Raiders off-season in general. My number 1 signing was Max Crosby. I think the old reverse Uno trade's going to pay off in their favour. They're going to have a few headaches to deal with their cap spacing, but I think this is awesome. And just to keep an absolute star in the game, one of the best players in the game, keep him on your roster, it just gives your team hope. Like, Fernando's going to be coming in to the Raiders now and be like, we've got like one of the best guys on defense. How good is this?
Just a chip on his shoulder too. Like, he thought he was at Baltimore, and then he's going to have thought, well, they didn't really want me. They failed me when I'm fine, I'm fit. Like, that chip, and he's going to be hungry. A hungry chip on the shoulder, Max Crosby, no thank you.
Mate, and he's a man that seems like he would carry a decent sized chip on his shoulder. Did you hear about like what the whole deal was when Max Crosby arrived in Baltimore? Have you heard much about that?
Nah, I haven't. Fill me in.
So apparently they flew him out, not on a private jet, but just in general.
Cattle class.
Yeah, our type of manoeuvring on flights where we usually sit. He would have been sitting next to us. And then he got there and they flew him to Washington, not to Baltimore. And then he had to take a 2-hour drive himself to get from Washington to Baltimore. And he got there and he's like, what's the deal here? So he was sort of a little bit grateful that it didn't pan out because he didn't really feel like he was wanted there anyway. So
That is crazy.
yeah.
What the? Oh my God, those rat birds. Well, that's going into my next one, and that is whose off-season I've hated, and that is the Baltimore Ravens. Firstly, it's the trade that wasn't a trade that we've spoken about that enough. Max Crosby probably, for me, wasn't going to fix all their issues. I think they have some serious holes on that roster, and it really showed last year. Like, I know Lamar missed a lot of time, but even with Lamar, that offense wasn't the same as it has been the last few years. That team wasn't the same that it has been the last few years. The defense, while they've been good, has been elite, knockout, and they still have pieces, but they have so many gaps on that defense at the moment. Their weapons, like Derrick Henry, he's old. Then Zay Flowers is their number one. I think he's like a good number 2, 1B potentially. So I think it's really important they've got their draft pick still because they have some holes to fill. And even Trey Hendrickson, we touched on it last time, he is a pass rushing defensive end. And he's 31, and they've paid him a hell of a lot of money to be. That's over $100 million for 3 years.
$112 million.
Yeah, so he is going to be getting a swag when he is 35. I'm worried. Well, I'm not really, because as a Browns fan, I hope they fucking suck. But I haven't loved the Baltimore Ravens off-season, and I hope, as a Browns fan, that they suck this year. What do you think?
It's my favourite thing talking about division rivals. We both just unload every time. It's the best. But I completely agree with you. I think it's more about the what if. Imagine if they had Hendrickson and Crosby. All of a sudden, that is one of the most feared defenses in the entire NFL. But
when people say, like, what if we could have, like, their GM, we tried to. Well, I don't give a damn if you tried to. You didn't. Like, as a Browns fan, I wish I could have Joe Burrow at quarterback. Like, it's just rubbish. Like, oh yeah, we wanted them both. Well, you don't have them both.
What? You had them both.
Exactly, yeah. So what I think is, like, they wanted them both, but the only way they could do it was if Hendrickson took a pay cut. And Trey Hendrickson's been lowballed the last few years, so he ain't taken no pay cut to go anywhere. So then you've gone, oh, damn, I've got to pay a swag of it. Like, yeah, I don't give a damn if you wanted to. You didn't get to, so suck it.
You know what they call that, Adam?
What?
They call it poor planning.
Yeah, exactly right.
Well, if we're moving over to my hate, so we've got a name change. I'm not big on name changes. It took me about 3 years to get over Darius Leonard turning to Shaq Leonard, but I'll forgive him because he's probably my favourite player of all time. But Travis Etienne has come out and said, we're actually talking about this before, Adam was the one that told me, but he's come out and said his last name is pronounced Achan. Now, I'm no professor in English, but the spelling of Travis Etienne and the spelling of Achan are completely different. And I don't really want to step on anyone's culture or where the name sort of come from or where it originates from, but that is bullshit. That is disgusting. No, I already didn't like this signing. I thought it was, I don't know why the Saints were signing a running back who's late 20s. He's already started dropping off. Yes, he did have a good bounce back year last year, but he's deteriorating. I wouldn't say I think he's played his best football is what I'm trying to say. And the Saints, go draft a young running back. You're going to pay way less for them, and you're going to get someone that's got maybe 10 years, 8 seasons ahead of him, not someone that's got 1 or 2. And how many years did they sign him for?
4.
Too many.
4 years, yeah.
4 years. He's going to be He'll be 31 by the end of that contract.
I think I don't hate the contract as much as you do because he's from Louisiana, like that area, so he's going back home. And
Who gives a fuck?
I think they needed to address the running back situation because Kamara won't be there next year, and even if he is, he's plays 1, misses 4. He's like a tampon, but it is a big contract for a lot of years for a guy who has had fumbling issues, has had availability issues, and Jacksonville were pretty content to just see the back of him. Yeah, I'm probably in agreement. I initially didn't mind the move. It does help Tyler Shuck, and he does need more help because he's only really got Olave on the outside, and he's also a bit like a tampon where he plays 1, misses 3 because of his sort of concussion and other issues. So they did need to address weapons for Tyler Shuck, but yeah, he's not that old, but yeah, an aging running back probably wasn't the way to do it.
They've got Killer Miller there. I've been waiting like 4 seasons for him to finally get his go at being number 1 and take over from Kamara, but I guess it's not going to be next year, is it?
No, it will not, and it will not. Well, the next one I love is the Kenneth Walker sign to the Kansas City Chiefs. We touched on it at the start about Kansas City and their potential bounce back. They have lost a lot defensively, but I love the signing of Kenneth Walker because how many times have they tried to address running back? Clyde Edwards-Helaire, then they fell into Pacheco, but even Pacheco, he couldn't stay healthy. He wasn't a true number 1. I like him at the Detroit Lions because I think he's a perfect number 2, but he's probably not a number 1. But this Kenneth Walker signing, he has been like a number 1A, but has always been shared with Charbonnet. So I think he's got plenty of juice left. Coming out of Michigan State, Kenneth Walker was a stud. He took Michigan State's whole program. The coach there got a 10-year, $100 million contract just because of Kenneth Walker. He is a dude. Super Bowl MVP this year. When he gets all people just to let him go, and he has a quarterback in Pat Mahomes, look out.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. That's where I'm landing. Kenneth Walker has had a lot of injuries early on in his career so far, so I like him paired with Charbonnet, to be honest with you, because it just gives you a bit more security in the position. Like early on, he exploded onto the scene, especially his rookie season. I think he was a gun as a rookie. But between then and probably just this season that's happened, the Super Bowl season, he has struggled to stay on the park. So I don't love it. I don't love paying the running back position as it is. I think they should have tried to draft Jeremiah Love. I think that would have been the best option. You get a guy that's cheaper and I think that's going to be more talented. But in saying that, you don't want to be waiting around at pick 9 to see if Jeremiah Love's going to get there or not. You may as well just go out and get a guy that you know you can get.
And I don't think he will be there at 9. And if you're going to trade, I think they're talking nearly like Tennessee, Arizona at pick 3 and pick 4. Like Kansas City aren't getting that high. They're going to have to give up a swag to get from 9 to 3 with Arizona. If you don't address it, they're saying it isn't the strongest running back class this year. So if you don't address it now, you could be stuck. At the draft, I don't think you want to be at the draft where you need to address a position because when you draft for need, that's when you get things wrong, which I talk about the Browns a bit, but if we don't put anyone at left tackle and we have to draft a left tackle at 6, makes me worry.
Yeah, it would be stressful. Well, the Chiefs, in that situation, they haven't had a great running back. I say great. They've had some good years from good running backs, but nothing crazy since like Kareem Hunt was there the first time.
Yeah, him and Jamal Charles. Like,
Yeah.
it's been a long time, and they've tried. Like, Clyde Edwards-Helaire was a first-round pick and massive out of LSU, and he didn't work, and they've just kept trying different people, different avenues, and it hasn't worked. So I like the fact that they've gone, bang. He's coming off an Achilles. Mahomes is coming off an ACL. We've given him Justin Fields now, so he doesn't have to rush. Now we're giving him a number 1 running back in Kenneth Walker to run the pill, and we are going to make our offense a lot more versatile and balanced rather than just like last year. Mahomes, I don't know if he ended up doing it, but was pretty much their best rusher. So they need to protect him as well.
Yeah, you can't have Pat Mahomes as leading the team in rushing, can you?
Nah, for sure.
Oh, if we move on to my next love, I'm gonna settle with the Carolina Panthers. Their defense last year was already stout. Like, where would you rank him? Top? What would you say is top 10? Is that? It's
I think
pretty.
about top 10, and you look like the offense never really, like, you're never scared of their offense, were you?
No, I still haven't really got a heap of respect for Bryce Young, but look, they did improve their run game. It was magnificent
Just
last year.
quickly, when we saw Bryce Young at Radio Row, he is small. Like, he is really little.
He's little, he's tiny. We towered over him. I was like, "Oh, mate, I get the Steph Curry comparisons now because he's little."
And then when you see a guy like Garrett Bowles, and he's really big.
You got guys like Kyle Long and Garrett Bowles rolling around there, and then you look at the size of Bryce Young, and you're like, "Far
He's
out,
got to
man."
look over them to see guys downfield.
That's exactly what I was. Now I get like the Kyler Murray stuff because if they're talking about how small Kyler Murray is, then like
Sorry to
Bryce
knock you
Young.
off track, but I had to get that in there.
No, that's fair. But yeah, I've got some questions around that offense still. But their defense, holy cow. They've signed Jalen Phillips to that massive 4-year deal. And they've also signed Devin Lloyd, who I think he's just underrated. Getting him on a 3-year, $45 million deal, I think that is an unbelievable signing for the Panthers. Their defense is going to be tough next year.
I love it too. I think it's great. They're both first round talents too. So you're betting on like that A grade pedigree, which
I
is
love
good.
that word. Pedigree. It's a good word.
Pedigree dog food.
Yeah,
There's a little
that's what
sly sales pitch. But yeah, exactly. You're betting on that good first round talent, that pedigree that they're just starting to come into their own too. Last year was probably Devin Lloyd's best season comfortably, and Jalen Phillips has shown those glimpses that if he can stay healthy, he can be a real premier edge. So yeah, I think it really adds to that defense, which, as you said, last year had a really, really good season.
And another first round talent. Is it the year? Is it the year for Isaiah Simmons?
Oh, he's not still going around, is he?
Yep, they've signed him.
Oh well, if
He signed him.
Simmons hits, then I'll eat me hat.
I'd love to see it. Is he still playing linebacker or has he gone back to safety?
Oh, who knows where?
Yeah,
Practice squad probably.
Kuzman.
Yeah. Well, my next hate is the Atlanta Falcons, and it is the whole team, the whole free agency, the whole offseason. I'm just starting to notice I've got a little bit of Browns hatred in my hates, but it's going to start from the start, which was they signed Kevin Stefanski to a 4. He was the first coach signed straight out of the coaching carousel. 2-time coach of the year. Don't get me wrong, I don't think Kevin Stefanski's a bad coach, but he's meant to be an offensive coach, and I've watched way too much Cleveland Browns the last 2 seasons to say our offense was porridge. And if he's meant to be an offensive genius and our offense is porridge, well, why? Sort of thing. He's gone out this offseason. They've signed Tua, and I know it's a $1 million deal that hasn't got anything to do with anything, but I don't love that. They've gone and signed 3 ex-Browns too, which, why? What are we doing if they're ex-Browns for a reason? And even their offensive coordinator, Tommy Rees, who was the Browns' offensive coordinator, is now followed Stefanski to Atlanta. The whole just Atlanta offseason, they haven't had any big name signings. The NFC South is there. It's gettable. One of their first round picks who they traded with the Rams, James Pierce, he's got a DYU, and the thing coming out, the reason he slid in the draft was he was a bit of a bad cat. And, well, the reports that are coming out of Atlanta of what he's done in Florida ain't good. So
He's still a bad cat.
yeah, so you're talking about this guy who, yes, he was a good rookie, but you traded pick 12, I think, to the Rams for him. He might not ever play for you again. And yeah, it hasn't been a good offseason for me, for the Atlanta Falcons. Last one I forgot, but Kyle Pitts got good money, to stay, and he's showed glimpses. But I am buying into the Kyle Pitts hype. Like, he's pick 4 in the draft and hasn't showed enough for me to go, yep. He's a poor man's David Njoku, or a good man's David Njoku.
I agree with everything you said, especially
Except for Kyle Pitts.
I agree with Jimmy Pierce. I think he's likely going to be playing for the Florida Slammers next year in jail. But I think Kyle Pitts reminds me, and I'm a Hawthorn supporter. I struggle to give any Geelong player a bit of credit, except for Pops Kelly. He's a legend. He reminds me of Tom Hawkins.
The T-Bone.
He's come on real late. Everyone's talked about his talent for years and years, and then all of a sudden he hits that age bracket, that mid-20s age bracket, and just turns into an absolute baller. I think we saw a different Kyle Pitts at the end of last year. I think he's going to be, mark my words, he will be the number 1 tight end in receiving yards next year.
This is why you listen to Outback to Endzone, because you get good Aussie takes and mic drops like that.
That was me partner's mouse. So I hope she doesn't watch that because the batteries are falling out. I don't know where they're going.
Oh, love it. Well, who's your last hate for the free agency, Jamie?
Last hate, I'm going to give it to the Green Bay Packers because they have done bugger all. Their big signing has been Ziggy Franklin from the Colts. And I think the best thing they're going to inherit from him is his podcast. So now they're going to have Micah Parsons and Ziggy Franklin doing their podcast each week, which I haven't seen enough of player podcasting, but I haven't seen a positive effect happen to a team yet. As a Colts fan, loved him a couple of years ago. I think he was a very solid linebacker, not a star. I think he was a bit overrated, but last year he was shithouse. He did nothing for us last year, so well done, Green Bay. Here's your big signing. And if you read through the rest of the names they've brought in, may as well have been me because there's not much going on there.
The other thing, too, is I think they've lost like their centre and left tackle from their offensive line, too. They let them walk, so you never know if, well, one of them, the centre's gone to the Browns, so I hope he goes good, but they've lost them too as well, so they're going to have to address line in different ways. So it's been a quiet off-season for the Packers, but yeah, you haven't given glowing reviews of Zaire Franklin since he's left the Colts, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think he's very replaceable. Very replaceable.
Linebackers tend to be like that too. Like, there is always those sort of linebackers coming through. In saying that, the Browns used top of second round pick on a linebacker last year, and he was an absolute stud in Carson Swessinger. So
yeah,
if you get a good one, they're good. But there's a lot of replaceable ones, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's one of those positions, unless you've got a complete star, like a Shaq Leonard, I think like you may as well, you can, like we bought Jermaine Pratt off the street last year and he was a gun. He was our best linebacker last year, and he would have been chilling on the street playing his fucking guitar. Week before, I don't know where I was going with that one. You might, but yeah, he was a gun for us.
It's MVP season for Bo Nix, and it's because of the addition of Jaylen Waddle. Put him next to Cortland Sutton with RJ Harvey in the backfield. You've got Troy Franklin. You've got Mims. They've now got an offense. They've got the big brown trout. They've got an offense I can get behind. And I just think last year I was not a fan of their offense. Their offense got hot at times, but there was games where they couldn't put up 10 points. Like the Raiders, I think they won 13-10 or something. Like their offense did not excite me last year. Their defense was big time, but now they've gone and added that weapon, and it was such a quiet. They probably could have been losers up until 24, but with the Jaylen Waddle trade, I love their offense. I love Bo Nix for MVP.
Wow. Oh, for MVP, God, we'll see. I'm a little bit skeptical because I still think Cortland Sutton still might be on the move. But as you said before, you did a bit of deep diving and digging.
Put it on his story today, a photo of Jaylen Waddle, and said, "Let's go." So
that's usually pretty promising, isn't it?
You would think.
Yeah, exciting times for the Broncos, especially for Bronco Benny. He'll be absolutely stoked with this Jaylen Waddle signing, I think.
We'll have to get Bronco Benny's take on the Jaylen Waddle signing, I reckon.
Well, we'll definitely tune in for that one. My last love, I'm giving it to the Washington Commanders. I think it's grouse to see what they've gone out and done this offseason. They haven't really made a splash on defense for the last 3 or 4 years, especially at the edge position, but they've gone out and had some huge signings. They've brought in Clevion Chassion. I don't really enjoy saying his name. So I really apologise, Clavion, for pronouncing that one incorrectly. They've gone sort a dart. Oh, I hate these names. This bloke is the number one. He's tripped me up the most this offseason. I'm calling him Double O from now on.
Adafe Owe.
Thank you. Geez, you nailed that. He's signed that 4-year, $100 million deal. I love that signing. I think he's going to be electric off the edge as well. And they've just gone out and just nailed, like, Nick Cross is another great signing, and I'm genuinely was very that he's leaving the Colts next year. He's basically been a starter for us from his second year. So I think that's a great signing by the Commanders. Big love, lots of love for what the Commanders have done this offseason.
Back for a bounce back year for the Commies, you reckon?
Yeah, I think their defense will be a hell of a lot better. I think Jayden Daniels will be a hell of a lot healthier. So they have to be bouncing back, don't they?
Yeah, well, and they have that pick 9 or 7 in the draft. So, yeah, they've got an early pick to address. A roster that we both were on pre-season thinking that Washington were going to have a down year after the year before. They aged really quick, whereas now they've sort of addressed a few needs, especially on the defense. Hopefully we can get a Jayden Daniels healthy season. And as you say, that NFC East is wide open for the first time probably in a few years, that Philadelphia have had a stranglehold of it for the last few years, whereas I feel like this year it is open season for all 4 of those teams are going to walk in week 1 thinking they will win the NFC East.
100%. If you are the Commanders and you're picking at pick 7, what do you like? Is there anyone that sort of sticks out to you to take at that position? I'm thinking, like, if you go defense, you're looking at like a Sonny Styles, but if you go offense, maybe like the first receiver off the board, like a Carnell Tate, because I think he'll be there at 7.
I cannot wait. Next podcast, we'll dive into the draft. The thing that I love about this draft is you can get a Sonny Styles or a Caleb Downs. They might fall to like pick 10 or 11. Ruben Bain, they're talking about, is going to slide a little bit too. So I cannot wait for this draft, because try to do a mock draft. They never get them anywhere close anyway, but this draft is just full of curveballs. Will Carnell Tate go in the first 5 picks? He could go as high as 4 or 5. He could fall to 14, 15. Like, this draft is so exciting. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, it's got to be nuts, isn't it? Especially those defensive pieces. They're bouncing up and down. Like, I've seen Ruben Bain going at pick 2 to the Jets. I've seen him going at 9 to the Chiefs. So
I saw him go to the Ravens at 14 the other day.
Oh, that's a good... I'm a big Ruben Bainesman, as we've spoken about before. I think he's going to be an absolute gun.
I just hope... The person that said it said the Ravens have pixie dust at draft night, which he isn't wrong. Like Kyle Hamilton, I remember when he fell to the Ravens. Everyone just falls, so I'm just fingers crossed they don't fall. He doesn't fall to the Ravens.
Not to the Ratbirds, mate. That might be the genius move. Maybe that's why they sent Max back, and it's not going to be Max and Hendrickson. It's going to be
Ruben and Hendrickson.
Ruben Bain and Hendrickson. The Ratbirds, eh?
Let's hope not. Have you got any final words for the people, Jamie, as we get out of here tonight?
Nah, I think that wraps him all up for me, mate. Stick a fork in this one. Good having a bit of a yak, and excited to get into some draft content. So, I think we might be putting out a few mock drafts coming out in the coming weeks. So stay tuned for that one. And if you are interested in registering for our draft trip, we are going to be there at the draft in Pittsburgh. So if you are interested, shoot us a message on Instagram, drop a comment on either the podcast or any of our content, because we want to bring the people with us. We don't want it just to be me and Adam over there. We want to bring as many people to sort of enjoy the same experience that we're going to have. And it's not just the draft. Feel free to dig into that one. We'll fill you in on all the blank details, but We want to bring the people.
We're the men of the people.
Yep, that's what they call us. They've always called us that, the man of the people. Man of the people, and the pronunciation is. That's what we call.
Oh, good. Well, we'll see you around like a result.
See you around like a result.